It is 6:30.
Jeez. How much did it cost him? God, how much did it cost you to get them all back?
All on the taxpayer.
Hi.
side.
Do you know this is all recorded? The recording is
And
on.
there's nothing missing.
All right, folks, let's call the town council meeting to order today for Wednesday, September 4th. Lee, may we have a call to order,
Councilmember Nick Farr,
a roll call.
Present.
Councilmember Ryan,
Here.
Councilmember Wellner,
Here.
Vice Mayor Thier,
Here,
and Mayor Fredericks.
Here. All right, we can give us some direction on remote participation, please.
If you're calling in on Zoom and would like to make a comment during this meeting, please use the raise hand feature of Zoom, which will indicate to me you would like to make a comment. You can find the raise hand button on your webinar controls bar on the bottom of your Zoom window or smartphone screen. If you're calling in using a phone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand.
Thank you. We move now to oral communication for items not on the agenda. This is a time for public comment. The council will not take a discussion or action at this time, but you're invited to speak for 3 minutes. Would anyone like to speak? Yes.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you again. My name is Beth Mix. I was here the last time. It's great to see you all. My daughter did draw you a rainbow picture, but it seemed to have fallen out of my pocket. So maybe I'll send you a screenshot of one later. I just wanted to say thank you for the last meeting where we went over the Parks and Rec master plan. And I really found it really wonderful hearing everyone's comments after the plan was proposed, public comment, town council comments. I'm just here to represent the parents for Parks and Rec and just reiterate that we still feel the same about what we see our immediate needs, which are mostly around playground improvements and bike walking path safety improvements. And then also in the next 1 to 5 years, teen amenities, more just shaded picnic areas, a SUP launch, and a potentially community pool. And I was just saying, I felt like a lot of the comments to me felt like there's a lot of consensus around nature-based and playground improvements. John, I really like that you brought up playgrounds seem like an obvious, let's move forward. Jack, you said we've got $1 million left over from the Marthas. We could just start getting that to work. So I guess my main questions were, as a citizen, what are these next steps on how to follow along to kind of have rubber meets road? And then I know some of the moms in this group met with some of the Bel Air community to try and get everyone's momentum going there. Yeah, so I was really just curious what you all see as the main next steps there for the citizens.
Thank you. Now, this is a time for public comment. The council does not respond or discuss to things not on the agenda.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you.
so good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor, council members. It's so nice to see you. Nice to meet you. My name is Sana Thomas, and can you hear me? I know I speak softly. My name is Sana Thomas, and I live in Tiburon, and I'm part of the Tiburon Climate Action Committee. And I thank you so much for the chance to speak to you about building electrification. So specifically, I just wanted to call your attention to the recent public release of the Marin's countywide building electrification roadmap, and which was reported on in the Marin IJ on August 24th. I hope you got a chance to read that. And the building electrification roadmap outlines 10 key actions that community members and policymakers can and should take to transition new and existing buildings from mixed fuel, i.e. natural gas and electricity, to all electric. It was developed over many months by the Marin County Sustainability Team and the Marin Climate and Energy Partnership, MCEP, with extensive input from all the key stakeholders. And it was done largely in response to the June 6, 2022 Marin County Civil Grand Jury report that called for a comprehensive, coordinated, and countywide plan for electrifying new and existing buildings. So as you know, the reason to transition away from fossil fuels is that combustion and leakage of natural gas in buildings is the second largest contributor to our greenhouse gas emissions, which are driving the climate crisis. Plus, natural gas in homes and businesses are toxic and dangerous to public health and safety. So I also want to emphasize that the building electrification roadmap goes hand in hand with Marin County's release last year of their EV acceleration strategy. And it's in total keeping with our 2021 climate emergency resolution and 2022 climate action plan. And when it's adopted, it'll go a long way to helping us achieve this Tiburon's, the CAP's very ambitious, but also critically essential goal of reducing greenhouse gases 50% below 1990 levels. So today, I just asked the town council and town staff to review the building electrification roadmap and also the Marin IJ article. And also, number two, put the roadmap on a council agenda for in the very near future for consideration and hopefully adoption, and to work with the community and other jurisdictions to implement it, because consistency in this area is really important countywide. So thank you for the chance, and thank you for your climate leadership. It's been remarkable. I've been very proud to be part of Tiburon. And I really want to say that I think Tiburon can and really should be a model for other jurisdictions to learn from, borrow from, and be inspired by, and hopefully emulate. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the education you gave some of us, and thank you for your leadership, Sana.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sana.
Is there any further public comment? Yes.
Hi, I'm Christina Cho Yu, and I live in the Delmar neighborhood, and I have a 5 and 10-year-old. So I'm part of the crew with Jenna and Beth. And so I'm not going to belabor all the points that they probably made abundantly clear, but I'm a licensed structural engineer and architect, and I have my own architecture and design firm. And so I've been particularly interested in the master plan. And so I just wanted to introduce myself to be a resource, sounding board or whatnot. I'm obviously, from a personal standpoint, professional standpoint, just really interested in what's kind of unraveling. And so just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christina, is there any further public comment? Is there anyone online?
Seeing none.
We move now to the consent calendar. Would any member of the public like to comment on anything on the consent calendar, which I see some of us have not read yet? I'm seeing no requests for comments. Would anyone on the council like to pull something to discuss? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we move now to our action items. The first one concerns fiscal year 2025 staffing. A staff report, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse me, I hopefully will be very brief. As part of the adoption of the budget, one of the things that council approves is staffing levels and classifications for each department. We're here tonight to ask council to make 2 amendments to those classifications, more staffing levels and classifications. I want to be clear up front. We're not asking for any additional positions, meaning the number of full-time positions will not change. We're asking to make some switches of classifications. Again, after hearing the staff report, we're going to ask council to adopt or consider adopting resolution, which is Exhibit 1 of the staff report, to amend the appropriate classifications and staffing levels. I'm going to quickly go over the 2 changes that we're seeking. The first is related to the Administrative Services Department. And as council has been aware from my updates over the past couple of years, the Administrative Services Department has gone through significant changes over the last couple of years. And as a result of that, we've been rethinking a little bit job descriptions and duties for each position. Currently, or recently, the administrative assistant position is vacant and is going to be permanently vacant here soon. And what we're asking council is to essentially delete that position from the approved staffing levels for the Administrative Services Department and add what we're calling a management analyst position that would be more focused on communications, public relations, media affairs, and community outreach. It's basically a change in job description requiring a new classification. Again, you can see in the chart that's up on the screen where the arrow in red is pointing is the administrative assistant. So we'd be reducing that FTE count from 1 to 0. And then where the arrow in green at the bottom, we'd be adding a new classification, management analyst. So making that from 0 to 1. And again, the number of total FTEs unchanged. The other change we're asking is related to the police department. The current staffing level of the police department includes 3 police service aides. One of our longtime service aides, Denny Cruz, has just completed the police academy, which is a very long process, and the town sponsored him in that academy. He graduated, I think, 2 weeks ago, and is ready to embark on what we call the field training aspect. Currently, the police officer positions that are approved in the budget are all filled, but we do want to allow Denny the opportunity to start field training, which he can't do unless he's in a police officer classification. So what we're asking council to do is reduce the number of police service aides from 3 to 2 and increase the number of police officers from 8 to 9. Again, no net change in FTE, just switching a classification there. There are modest financial impacts to both of these, but they're modest enough where we believe the adopted budget has enough funding appropriated, where we're not asking for any budget amendment associated with these changes. So here's a picture of Denny's graduation ceremony, and Denny's standing there proudly up front with a number of members of the force who attended the graduation. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Captain Jared Yee is here as well, if there are any questions related to the police department. And at the conclusion of the questions, again, we'd ask council to consider adopting the resolution that's attached as Exhibit 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any council questions? Comments? Later. All right. Seeing no questions from the council, I will open this to public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Yes. Beth.
Hi, my name is Beth Mix, and I live pretty nearby. I know the family affected by that recent burglary in the top of Old Town Tiburon. So I was just curious how the police staffing, while it's being revisited, which all makes sense, just it wasn't clear to me if there were any adjustments to the budgeting for technology or staffing to accommodate the increase in burglaries. I remember maybe it was like 2 years ago, a year ago, Gil Martin got hit really hard, and now they're moving even farther down Tiburon. I've heard a lot in Paradise K. I recently called the police because there were a bunch of people in my neighborhood, and all of our neighbors came together and noticed it. So yeah, that was my main question. I don't know if that's for the police or the town council.
This is a question to the specific duties, I think, of a police officer position that we're creating. I'm not sure it's relevant to the item we have before us, but if staff would like to comment in any way, it would be appreciated.
Yeah, this item does not address any technological changes related to how the police investigate crimes. It's simply asking, again, for the classification of police service aide to be deleted and a police officer to be added.
Thank you for the question, Beth.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further public comment? Is there any comment on Zoom?
Seeing none.
I bring it back to the council now for discussion. Holly, please.
Sure. I just wanted to say congratulations to Officer Denny. That is very exciting. I also wanted to say that I'm in support of the plan. I like that we're moving one of the positions that was administrative into community outreach and public service, because I think our residents will only benefit by knowing more about what's going on. So I'm in support of this and I'll be voting yes.
Any further comment? Yes, John?
Yeah, I was, when I first saw the heading, I was excitedly hoping that we were going to talk about some other staff changes that we've talked about in the past. So I just want to raise them again and see if they've been given any thought. One of them that comes up sort of perennially is the idea of hiring some type of code enforcement person to kind of hit the spot between where it's appropriate to call the police versus doing nothing. And so the classic example of that is, you know, if someone is, for example, using a gas-powered leaf blower, you know, you don't feel right calling the police to tell them that they need to enforce the local ordinance, but there's really no one, you can call the planning department, but you know, they're busy doing planning. So one of the things we've talked about is some kind of position like that. The other one, I guess this maybe this is what the management person will do. We also talked about the possibility of hiring additional staff to support with the communication function. So I don't know if that's what you're,
That is.
if that is specifically what that's for.
That's what that's for.
So to your first question about code enforcement, my guess is we'll see some of that in next year's budget, but in the meantime, I will remind council, I think a couple of updates ago, I emailed you that we are working to put in place a more streamlined way to administer citations. And we're going to be finalizing that over the next month or so, which will make it far easier for staff who are able to issue citations to do so. At this point, we don't have a very cohesive system for tracking citations that are out there, and it's sort of done on an ad hoc basis. We're working with the same vendor that we use for parking tickets to include a whole host of
That's right.
other code violations that are already in our code. We're not adding anything, we're not changing anything, but it's going to put in place a process whereby it'll be much easier to.
Would you call the police or would you call the planning staff? How would that work?
Well, again, for it depends on sort of when and what, right? If during the week, during business hours, if there's a violation and it's a planning related violation, we would ask people to call the planning department. And if the police get that call, they'd route it to the planning department. If it's after hours or on weekends when we don't have admin staff, the police are the default people, but they will also have the ability now to issue citations for things that previously we didn't have an easy way to do that. Now it'll be almost like a parking ticket.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't know if that helps, but we're trying to put into place the tool that'll allow us to be more efficient. And then I think next year we're going to really start thinking about staffing and how that looks. So.
Okay, and can you reiterate the communications role of that new management position?
So, right. So this is not a absolutely new position. The new job description, which I'm happy to share, I can email it to you all afterwards, is really a combination of what was the old admin assistant position, which used to do a fair amount of work in the accounting finance world. They would work with accounts payable and accounts receivable. Now that our finance staff is fully staffed, the need for that admin assistant to help in that area has been reduced dramatically. So we're hoping to beef up that position and have them more focused on helping Lee, frankly, work on website updates,
Right, exactly. Right. Okay.
a variety of other things that are related to communications. So
Great.
it's
Okay.
not a position that's specifically communications. It's still sort of that core admin assistant functions, like being at the counter during the day when people come in, but instead of working in accounting, finance, in business licenses, that's all being taken away. The other part of the job will be more focused on outward facing communications. So
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I do think it's great, especially anything that makes it easier and more contemporary to add information that is easily accessible on the website. Thank you. Is there any further discussion from my colleagues? I am seeing none. I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Holly moved it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Hi.
I,
Yes.
Aye. Thank you. So I think we have concluded our open meeting and we will adjourn now to closed session.
actually, there was something I wanted to say under reports.
Do we do that now? Yes.
Town council reports.
I think we do that now, yes. I just wanted to say that with respect to the building electrification item, I would want to thank Santa Thomas for coming. I really appreciate it and I appreciate your leadership. In addition, I wanted to see this on the next agenda, next whenever the mayor and town council member can schedule it. Because, you know, we're looking at most emissions, 85% are coming from the built environment. And this is an area where we could really make a difference. So I would like us to put the electrification road map that was written by the Marin Sustainability Team and the Marin Climate and Energy Partnership on a future agenda. And I also think it is right in line with our climate action plan and all of the work that we're doing here in Tiburon.
All right, we do have a climate action plan. We do have a building code, and I'm sure when it comes before us, we will be able to address any deficiencies. Any further comments? Now we are adjourned to closed session.
Mayor, you have to.
Yes? Yes.
Oh, are there any
What did you want
comments
to
on
say,
closed
Francisco?
session?
No, I'm just kidding. I know.
Any online?
Seeing none.
Thank you. What would we do without the press?
Yeah, we have a quorum, so I think you can. Yeah.
I would like to reconvene the open session of the Tiburon Town Council. Are there any reports out of closed session?
There is nothing to report out of closed session.
Adjourned.
Okay.
I was in suspense. That was pretty good.